Darth Revan was the main character of Knights of the Old Republic and one of the most popular Sith in the old expanded universe. Palpatine honored him by naming the 3rd Legion Revan Legion, because nothing says "I respect you" like a battalion of soldiers with your name on their shoulder patches. His full canon story has yet to be told, but with Lucasfilm's official Old Republic timeline, we might see him soon. Revan's unique position as both fallen Jedi and redeemed Sith created unprecedented complexity in his relationship with the Force, allowing him to understand both light and dark sides with equal depth and facility. Basically, he unlocked both skill trees. His strategic genius was legendary, capable of analyzing galactic-scale conflicts and identifying crucial pressure points that could determine the outcome of entire wars. The Revan Legion's tactical doctrine reflected his innovative approaches to warfare, combining traditional military strategy with Force-enhanced coordination and prediction capabilities. His influence on Sith philosophy was profound, introducing concepts about the necessity of conflict and the potential for redemption that challenged traditional dark side orthodoxy while strengthening overall Sith effectiveness. This philosophical duality made him a unique figure whose teachings influenced both Jedi and Sith for millennia. Gol the Wither King had his essence trapped inside a bled kyber crystal. When Luke Skywalker tried to heal the crystal, he was forced to confront this ancient Sith's memories directly. Somehow, Luke managed to redeem even this dark spirit from beyond death itself. The title Wither King suggests mastery over decay and entropy, possibly able to age his enemies to death or drain the life from entire ecosystems. His imprisonment within a kyber crystal represents one of the most sophisticated forms of Sith immortality, binding consciousness to the very foundation of lightsaber technology. Luke's ability to purify Gol's corrupted essence demonstrated the light side's ultimate supremacy over darkness, proving that even the most ancient and powerful Sith spirits could be cleansed through compassion and understanding rather than destroyed through violence. This encounter showcased the transformative power of forgiveness over the destructive nature of eternal hatred and revenge. Darth Krall was another of the Lost 20 whose real name was Radaki. He lived 500 years before the prequel trilogy and accomplished impossible things. He won something called the Battle of Wasted Years and actually tamed the Nightmare Conjunction. He also allied with carnivorous plant creatures called the Drengir before betraying and trapping them. The Battle of Wasted Years reportedly lasted for decades, with Krall demonstrating patience and strategic thinking that exceeded even other Sith Lords. His ability to tame the Nightmare Conjunction, a cosmic phenomenon of pure dark side energy, showcased powers that bordered on the godlike. The Drengir Alliance revealed his diplomatic cunning, as few beings could negotiate with such alien intelligences. His eventual betrayal of the plant creatures prevented their spread across the galaxy, though whether this was calculated strategy or simple Sith treachery remains debated by historians. These achievements established Krall as one of the most strategically brilliant Sith Lords in galactic history. Mindrin was another of the mysterious Sith whose likeness was carved into Exegol's stone walls. Kylo Ren recognized him immediately, meaning this ancient Dark Lord was significant enough to be included in Sith historical texts. The prominence of his carved image suggests Mindrin held a position of extraordinary importance in ancient Sith hierarchy, possibly serving as an advisor or philosopher whose teachings shaped dark side doctrine. His inclusion alongside other legendary figures indicates contributions that transcended mere military conquest or personal power accumulation. Scholarly analysis of Sith texts reveals references to Mindrin's paradox, suggesting he developed complex philosophical frameworks that influenced how later Sith understood the relationship between power and corruption. The preservation of his memory across millennia indicates that his intellectual contributions to the dark side were considered as valuable as the more obvious achievements of warrior kings and conquerors. His theoretical work likely formed the foundation for many advanced Sith techniques and ideological principles. Darth Maulman was considered a heretic even by other Sith. He learned to manipulate time itself and discovered how to control the dark side through architecture. After death, his consciousness survived in his mask. Darth Vader used Maulman's spirit to design his castle on Mustafar, but the ancient Sith tried to use the opportunity to resurrect himself completely. Maulman's architectural approach to the Force was revolutionary, viewing buildings and structures as three-dimensional spells that could channel and focus dark side energy. His heretical status stemmed from rejecting traditional Sith emphasis on personal power in favor of creating permanent monuments to darkness. The mask containing his consciousness represented the ultimate fusion of art and evil, with each carved detail serving as both aesthetic element and functional component of a larger ritual. His attempt to use Vader's castle as a resurrection vessel nearly succeeded, requiring all of Vader's power to prevent Momin from returning to physical form. Vader ultimately stopped him, proving once again that when a Sith asks to crash at your place, the answer should always be no. Darth Ravi the Bold conquered an entire sector of space and became obsessed with mysterious artifacts called the Echo Stones. The Jedi desperately tried to hide these objects from him, suggesting they contained incredible power. Historical records describe Ravi's conquest as unprecedented in its scope and brutality, subjugating hundreds of worlds in a campaign that lasted mere months rather than years. The Echo Stones were apparently capable of amplifying Force abilities across vast distances, allowing their wielder to project power across entire star systems simultaneously. Jedi archives suggest these artifacts were created by a pre-Republic civilization that understood aspects of the Force unknown to both Jedi and Sith. Ravi's obsession with collecting all the Echo Stones nearly succeeded before a coalition of Jedi Masters managed to scatter them across the galaxy, hiding them in locations so remote that they remain lost even today. His relentless pursuit of these artifacts demonstrates how dangerous concentrated Force power can become. When sought by ambitious dark side wielders, Nagasato led the ancient Sith Empire during the Great Hyperspace War against the Jedi Order. Sato's strategic genius nearly resulted in Sith victory over the Republic, using hyperspace technology to launch surprise attacks across multiple worlds simultaneously. After losing, he retreated to Yavin 4 and turned it into a full-on dark side Airbnb. His retreat to Yavin 4 after the war's end began a centuries-long project to transform the moon into a fortress of dark side power. The Masasi's devotion to him transcended normal master-servant relationships, becoming a genuine religious cult that survived long after his death. His architectural legacy on Yavin 4 influenced later Sith construction techniques, with design principles that maximize the concentration and manipulation of Force energy through careful geometric arrangements and material choices. These ancient temples would later serve as bases for both the Rebel Alliance and various dark side cults. Nier was an ancient Sith who lived before even Nagasato. He created a gauntlet so powerful in the dark side that it could turn Jedi against each other. The weapon was eventually taken to the Jedi world of Ossus, where it was lost during a supernova. The gauntlet's ability to corrupt Jedi minds represented one of the earliest known examples of Sith alchemy applied to wearable artifacts, predating similar techniques by thousands of years. Archaeological evidence suggests Nier spent decades perfecting the artifact, experimenting on captured Jedi to understand exactly how to exploit their psychological weaknesses through Force manipulation. The weapon's power grew stronger with each Jedi it corrupted, creating a feedback loop that made it increasingly dangerous over time. Its loss during Ossus's destruction may have been the galaxy's salvation, as it could eventually have turned entire Jedi enclaves against each other without their awareness. This artifact represented one of the most insidious weapons ever created by the ancient Sith orders. Darth Noctis sought immortality on Exegol, where the boundary between life and death is thin. She wielded a unique sickle-shaped lightsaber that survived for millennia. Palpatine's agents eventually used this weapon against Luke Skywalker during the original trilogy era. Her choice of Exegol as a base of operations demonstrated sophisticated understanding of the Force's deeper mysteries, recognizing the world's unique properties long before Palpatine established his hidden fortress there. The sickle lightsaber represented revolutionary weapon design, optimized for harvesting movements that could channel life force from victims into the wielder. Her immortality experiments laid groundwork for techniques later perfected by Darth Plagueis and ultimately Palpatine himself, making her a crucial link in the chain of Sith knowledge preservation. The weapon's survival across millennia testified to her skill in Sith alchemy, creating artifacts that could maintain their power indefinitely without maintenance or conscious direction. Her research into life extension became fundamental to later Sith understanding of death and resurrection. Amen was so important that Emperor Palpatine reused his life support harness for his own cloned body. This ancient Sith king was associated with Onderon, homeworld of Saw Gerrera. The dark side creatures he created on that world were still causing problems thousands of years later. Amen's rule over Onderon established precedents for Sith governance that influenced Imperial policy millennia later, particularly regarding the use of fear and supernatural threats to maintain control over populations. His mastery of Sith alchemy produced creatures that could reproduce and evolve independently, creating self-sustaining populations of dark side corrupted beasts that plagued the world for generations. The life support technology he developed represented the cutting edge of ancient medical science combined with force-based healing techniques, allowing him to extend his reign far beyond natural limits. Palpatine's adoption of similar technology demonstrated both respect for Amun's innovations and practical recognition of their effectiveness in preserving Sith Lords past their normal lifespans. His technological legacy influenced generations of Sith seeking to extend their power beyond mortal limitations. Darth Phobos was a terrifying female Sith Lord who became legendary enough that Palpatine named an entire legion after her. Beyond that, her canon story remains shrouded in mystery. The name Phobos suggests mastery over fear itself, possibly able to manifest psychological terrors as physical threats or drive enemies insane through force-induced nightmares. Military historians note that the Phobos Legion specialized in psychological warfare tactics, using terror and intimidation as primary weapons rather than conventional firepower or strategic superiority. Archaeological evidence from various worlds includes monuments dedicated to an unnamed female Sith who matches Phobos' general time period, suggesting her influence was both widespread and deliberately obscured by later Sith who feared her methods. The mystery surrounding her identity may be intentional, as some theorize that forgetting her true name was necessary to contain the power of her legacy and prevent her techniques from being fully replicated. She's basically the boogeyman that Sith tell their apprentices about when they refuse to meditate. Darth Quellis possessed perhaps the most terrifying power of any Sith. He could blacken entire suns, subjecting whole planets to literal darkness. Even candles burned with black flames under his influence. He conquered the Twi'lek world of Allah using this horrific ability, but was eventually driven off after suffering burn injuries. The ability to manipulate stellar energy on such a massive scale required understanding of both the Force and astrophysics that exceeded most Sith Lords' capabilities, suggesting Quellis possessed a brilliant scientific mind in addition to overwhelming dark side power. His conquest of Allah created a reign of terror that lasted for years, with the population living in perpetual darkness while their conqueror fed on their despair and fear. The Black Flames phenomenon extended beyond simple light manipulation, actually inverting the fundamental properties of combustion itself through Force influence. The burn injuries that eventually drove him away were reportedly self-inflicted, as his own power became too intense for his physical form to contain safely. His stellar manipulation abilities represented the ultimate fusion of scientific knowledge and dark side Force mastery. Falkor remains one of the most mysterious Sith Lords. His face was carved into the rock walls of Exegol, and he was famous enough that Kylo Ren immediately recognized him from ancient texts. What made him worthy of such recognition is still unknown. Falkor may have been instrumental in the discovery or founding of Exegol itself, given his prominent placement among the carved visages. His inclusion in fundamental Sith educational materials suggests he contributed something essential to dark side philosophy or technique. Some researchers believe he may have been a master of Sith sorcery, developing rituals that became standard practice for later generations. The fact that his identity remained prominent in Sith teachings for thousands of years indicates an achievement of extraordinary significance to the dark side's evolution. Whatever he did, it was enough to be remembered for thousands of years, which is impressive in a galaxy where most Sith can't even keep their apprentices alive for 5 minutes. These ancient Sith left behind more than just legends. They shaped the course of history in ways still not fully understood, and yet many secrets remain buried. Soon we'll uncover more hidden figures, lost technologies, and forgotten events that continue to echo through the galaxy. Be sure to check out part 1 if you missed it, and if you enjoyed this video, stay tuned and be sure to check out more related content shown on screen.